There has been some buzz over this short clip of Dedra Meero in the latest Andor trailer, and in my initial reaction when I first saw this, here's what I said. I'm really interested to know, is this like, does she mess up? Is she kind of the one who takes Luthen's bait for the whole thing, and then she recognizes, wow, we just slaughtered all of these civilians? I don't know. I'm interested to see what's going to happen there. It never really crossed my mind that this was a force choke or anything other than her having kind of a panic attack. And here's 5 reasons why. Number 1, it wouldn't be anything like Tony Gilroy to force some kind of cameo of Darth Vader or even Palpatine in this show. Gilroy's already been quoted previously saying everything that's going to happen must be organic, and this was more in reference to if Jen Erso was going to be in season 2, but the same holds true here. I cannot see Tony Gilroy trying to work in a Darth Vader force choke scene or even Vader into any of Andor season 2. I think that the way that Tony Gilroy approaches writing is really about the motivations and the struggles of each and every individual character. And all the other things aside, I think this is the number one reason why this isn't Darth Vader or Palpatine or some other Force user choking Dedra Meero. Instead, this is what it feels like for the Empire when things start falling apart. She's probably caught in something, and I think it has more to do with Krennic than it does any of those others. Point number 2 is I believe that if something like that were to happen, it would completely undercut Rogue One, a film that Tony Gilroy already worked on. No, I'm not saying it takes away from the hallway scene, but just in general, the way that Vader was used in that film would kind of pull away from it because of the way that Andor is meant to lead right into Rogue One. And so it would feel kind of anticlimactic when we see Vader in Rogue One if he's already kind of been all throughout and been a role and a part of what's happening here in Andor Season 2. The scenes of Vader in Rogue fit that film so much better than they fit in Andor. And that kind of leads me to the third point, and it's this idea of what the building blocks of this show really are. Andor is all about the political side of the rebellion, and Vader just doesn't fit that motif. Here's what I mean. Here's Seb Jones. He says, I hate to be this kind of gatekeeper, but if you think there's a single chance Tony Gilroy would put Vader in his show about ISB functionaries, thieves, art dealers, partisans, and senators, you have a single brain cell. And really, that's the point. Andor is about so much more of the grassroots individual people in the rebellion. It's not really about the Jedi and the Sith. It's not really about these other force powers or these other things. Instead, it's about these political leaders. It's about these individuals. It's about everyday regular people doing extraordinary things when faced with great oppression. That's really what Andor is, and it doesn't quite make sense to throw a cameo of Vader to kind of pull away from that motif that they've taken so long to build up and craft, because every line, every scene, everything in Andor is there with a very intentional purpose. Number 4, this kind of motion grabbing at her collar is nothing new for Dedra, especially if you've been closely watching season 1. Take a look at this right here. Dedra adjusts her collar a few times in season 1, and the pressure and scrutiny she's under will only get worse. Love seeing the Imperial uniform physically represent the choking on your own aspirations, and now the monster, the Empire, will come for us all. Or the Emperor, I think, is who the monster that's being talked about in that scene. But that's kind of the point, is that this won't be the first time that she's fiddled with her collar. I'm not saying it's all identically the same, but it's a bit of a leap just to say, when we have things like her doing it in season 1, to say all of a sudden this is a force choke. Though I have a feeling they know what they're doing, and the reason they put it in the trailer like they did is for videos like this. Number 5, Occam's razor. Usually the simplest explanation is the right one. And when we're talking about what's going to be happening in season 2, some of the things we know about are there's going to be the Gorman massacre. We know that Krennic is going to show up in the lead up to Rogue One. And I think when we're putting some of those puzzle pieces together, it seems to make much more sense logically, and because of everything else we've said, that this is more going to be Dedra messes up somehow. Kind of like I said in my original reaction. I think she's maybe going to make a decision or two that don't go the way that she wants, that maybe even she's partly to blame for some of the things that end up happening, and as a result, she gets pulled into the drama. There's even been some talk when we see the scene of Krennic in the interrogation chamber that it looks like the reflection is Dedra, so maybe right after she was interrogated by Krennic is this scene. Hey, while I was editing this, I also realized that the line that Krennic is saying in that section of the trailer is that the resistance is absurd. So almost like he's questioning Dedra about her theories that there even is this rebellion going on, that all of these things are playing together in a system as opposed to the random acts of theft that they've kind of assumed they are. So it clearly, I think, is Krennic interrogating her, which very much could lead to her anxiety and panic attack, at least logically so. That feels a lot more logical. And that's why I don't think this is a force choke at all. Though I can't blame people for thinking it could be when we're used to Disney trying to live off of nostalgia. But we have to remember, Andor is different. Tony Gilroy is different. He's not just going to throw someone in the show or something in the show to drum up interest and intrigue and people to talk about it, because that's not why you write. You instead write to create an amazing story. And honestly, I think people could learn a little bit from the way that Tony Gilroy is approaching this. That's what I think. Let me know why I'm wrong down in the comments. Why is this a force choke in your mind? Or is it kind of much to do about nothing? Guys, thanks for being here. I'll catch you on the next one. Remember, the force will be with you always.